Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with a midweek devotional. I'm going to spend a few minutes with you and share some things with you. I think it's going to be kind of fun. One thing I'm going to have is my hot chocolate. It's a good day for hot chocolate. It's whoa, it's 46 degrees outside, and kind of overcast, and you're going to hear probably Yodi barking in the background. I had my cell phone here, so I could kind of monitor whether or not I was live. And as far as I can tell, I am live, and good to see you on this afternoon. Okay. I suppose about 25 years ago, I don't know, something like that, I entered a contest, and I never had done it before, and I have never done it since. But the contest was for a ukulele manufacturing company called Lanica. I'll show you this. Lanica. You can see it there on the top. Lanica. They manufacture all kinds of ukuleles. I'm sure they're made in China. Yeah, I think so. Made in China. That's about everything's made in China now, isn't it? But anyway, they had a contest that was through one of the suppliers that I had that provided things that I could get for making ukuleles. And the contest was for to write a jingle for Lanica, and then whoever won that was would get something. Well, I entered it, and I wrote this little jingle for it. So I'm going to play it for you right now. I believe I'm going to play it for you. Let's see how it goes. Here we go.
Sounds of peace and love coming from the strings of my little la la Lanica. Lanica, Lanica, happy sounds of peace and love coming from the strings of my little la la Lanica.
So now, in monitoring that, I couldn't hear it, but I could see the little indicator indicating it was playing. So hopefully you did hear that. I'm assuming that you did. You did hear that. So I wrote that little jingle for Lanica, and lo and behold, I won first place. This was a national contest. I won first place, and first place was this ukulele. This is a 8-string ukulele. You know, they have a 12-string guitar. Well, this is the ukulele version. They're not very common, but this is an 8-string ukulele that was manufactured by Lanica, and I got it, first place. I don't know whether they ever used that jingle in their promotions or not, but anyway, they liked it, so that's it. So it has a little different sound than a 4-string ukulele. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. And thou, O Lord, art a shield to me. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice. I cried unto the Lord with my voice. I cried unto the Lord with my voice. And he heard me out of his holy hill. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. And thou, O Lord, art a shield to me. You're the glory and the lifter of my head. You're the glory and the lifter of my head. There you have it. From my Lanica ukulele. It's the only Lanica I have. In fact, almost all the ukuleles I have are ones I've made. I have a couple of them that I purchased. But that one I won. And like I said, I'd never entered a contest like that before, and I have never entered one since. So that was, I think it's about an $800 ukulele. So, it's pretty good for a ukulele. But that's a song that I sang. I don't know whether you've heard it before or not, but it comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 3. And it's a psalm of David. In fact, my Bible, the ESV version of the Bible, titles this psalm, Save Me, O My God. It's a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. Remember, Absalom rebelled against David. And Absalom was the story of Absalom was he met a horrible death. He had long, beautiful golden hair, and he was out in battle, and he got hung. His hair got hung in a tree, and he was hanging there in the tree, and somebody, put a spear through him. But anyway, this was a psalm that David wrote when he was fleeing from Absalom, when it looked like Absalom was going to take over the kingdom. And so David had to flee, and he had to do that several times in his life before things finally calmed down for him. But here's what it says. It says, O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God. Selah. But you, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory and the lifter of my head. I cried aloud to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy hill. And that's where this song is based from, and it focuses on the words, the glory and the lifter of my head. I had a minister one time that in his sermon gave an explanation about that, and honestly, I don't know where he got his information. I have looked to try to find out where this came from. It may not be true, but it is an interesting application. He said back in the ancient world, of course, in the ancient world, a lot of things they did were physically were symbolic. They would do things that would symbolize something. And for example, when Abraham sent his servant to go find Isaac, he had him put his hand under his thigh and swear, little things like that. And the story goes on this, that a person is carrying a heavy load. And if you're carrying a heavy load, you got a heavy burden on your back, and you're looking down like this, and you're trudging along with this heavy load. And if somebody would like to help you with that load, they'd go and stand in front of you. And so you're trudging along, and here you are. All of a sudden, you see these feet, these sandals down there on the ground. And the person that wants to help you reaches out and puts his hands under your chin and lifts up your head, symbolizing that I will help you carry your load. I will help you carry your load. That's beautiful, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know, but we do know that when we are downcast, we do hang our heads. The whole idea is we hang our heads because we're downcast, and God lifts our head. He lifts up our head. Jesus told us that we could come to him, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He will lift our head. And God lifted David up and established him on his throne. And in the same way, God lifted up Jesus and set him up, and he suffered and he died. And certainly that time when he suffered and died, for all of his followers, I think of his mother, how downcast they must have felt. What an awful, awful ordeal for Mary to go through, to see her son, that was the son of promise, hung on the cross, suffering and dying a horrible death. But Jesus didn't stay dead. He rose from the dead. God lifted him up because he's the one who is the glory and the lifter of our heads. So if you're downcast today, and I'd be willing to say that there are some who will be watching this time together, that you're probably downcast. Well, let the Lord be the glory and the lifter of your head. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. And thou, O Lord, art a shield to me. You're the glory and the lifter of my head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice. I cried unto the Lord with my voice. I cried unto the Lord with my voice. You know what? He heard me out of his holy hill. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. Let him lift it. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. And thou, O Lord, art a shield to me. You're the glory and the lifter of my head. You're the glory, oh, the wondrous glory and the lifter of my head. Amen. He's the glory and the lifter of my head. So be encouraged, be strengthened today. Know that he is the one. He is the one we can depend on to stand there in front of us and lift up our chin and say, be encouraged. So that's my word for you today on this Monday. I want you to just be encouraged in the love of Jesus.